Hi guys, welcome back to HarryMakesItUp. I hope you are all really well. Today I have a real mix of new launches and then a few products that are kind of newer to me that have been on my mind to try for a little while. So I have those here for you today. This is the look that I put on my Instagram recently. I'll pop it on the screen somewhere here. I got a ton of DMs, a ton of questions about it. It's pretty much a classic kind of universally flattering smoky eye. I think there's nothing too technical about it. It is a mix of layering shadows and layering product. But I thought today would be a great chance to show you some of the newer launches that you guys have been asking me about as well. So if that sounds good, just keep watching. So the first new launch I am going to test out today, in fact, that's a lie, I've already tried it and I actually I know I already love this. It's the new foundation from Hourglass. This is the Seamless Finish Liquid Foundation. So this is, I guess, to complete the range of the Vanish range in total. I love the Vanish foundation stick. Always been a fan of that, so I have this to try. Now this claims to be full coverage, kind of satin matte finish, lightweight on the skin, so really super like air on your skin, no primer needed. But it does say in the press release to make sure your skin is really hydrated, and because I have drier skin anyway, I am going to make sure I am very hydrated. So I'm going to start with some Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. So I still love the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I feel like it's got that nice emollient feel. So you can see straight away that gives me a nice glow. And actually before I come to doing the foundation, I have a new, I say primer, it's more like a glow booster that a lot of you guys have been asking about. And this is new from Nars. This is the Super Radiant Booster. And this is supposed to be like a universal flattering shade. So it's almost like a rose gold champagne-y colour. So the theory is great for paler skin tones, great for warmer skin tones. I tried a little bit of this yesterday and I actually think I used a little bit too much. So that's the tone. You see, it's almost a bit like, reminds me of like Becca Opal, almost, if like Opal and Moonstone had a baby. So you see, it's kind of like that very luminous champagne tone. But I thought this might be nice to try under the Hourglass foundation because even when I'm using a matte foundation, I do like a bit of a glow to my skin still. So I'm trying this all over. And again, sort of like highlighting the high points. Anywhere I want a bit of extra glow. I think it's been really nice for holiday actually. And I have to say, like, I've only used half of what I put on my hand and I already think that was probably too much. So I think this is going to be one of those like boosters that you really can build up the product with. So you can go as glowy as you want, or you can just go for a very subtle sheen if that's what you prefer. I really like that. I feel like that's a really nice natural looking glow. My skin looks nice and fresh. So now onto the Hourglass Vanish foundation. I'm using the shade Linen and Bisque and I've kind of been mixing. The bottle has this very cool triangular effect, which I'm into. Now they did send the brush with the launch of the foundation. So this is the, I think it's just called the Vanish foundation brush, which I love with the sticks, the stick foundation. I think I mentioned in a video or a blog post before that I really enjoy the the brush with the stick formula because it's got a very dense brush head. So for any kind of fuller coverage foundation, this really works the product in well. And I have found this not an essential, but definitely a good one if you don't have like a densely packed bristle brush for foundations that are more fuller coverage. So I'm going to do a dot of linen and a little dot of bisque. I feel like I'll be more linen as I get warmer in the summer. So I've got about that much on the back of my hand. Again, because it's a fuller coverage foundation, a little is going to go a long way. So you see as I go in, it's definitely kind of instantly full coverage. But I have to say, guys, I've already used this once and I've really enjoyed the finish of it because I feel like it still looks like skin. It doesn't go like into pores and really, I don't know, it's just a very beautiful formula. And I do think what Hourglass do well with bases, they really excel at. So you can see I've got a little bit of breakout from a little bit of redness from some spots I had recently, and it covers really nicely. And you know, it does, the thing I think a lot of people like about it is it doesn't feel sticky, there's no feeling on the skin, like it really does feel weightless. And I feel like my skin looks quite plump, which I like. It looks fresh and juicy. So I'm just taking a little bit of that on the inside of the eye. This is the Nars Pro Proof Smudge Proof primer, longest name in the world. You guys know what I'm talking about. If ever I'm doing a shadow look with powder shadows, I do like to make sure that I have a little bit of this on my eyelids first, and I do prefer the clear one, I have to say. And before I go in with any eyeshadow, I'm going to do my brows. Now I have this little brush that I just got from a makeup trade store, which I'm really loving at the minute for kind of brushing brows. And I'm going to take this through first. Then I'm going to use my Pomade, which you guys, if you saw my last video, I'll link that somewhere up here, will know all about my love for this product. And I like to remove quite a bit of the excess off first. So I do take quite a bit off first on my hand. And then I'm going to run a little bit of this through my brows just to set my brows into place. So I'm just going to give them a bit of direction, because I feel like brows are really having a moment at the minute, guys. Like, so many brands are bringing out new brow products. And I've got a mix of stuff to show you here. Some that's high end, some that's more drugstore, a real mix basically. So now I'm going to let that dry for a minute or two, because I want to show you some new brow products. So one that I got sent was by Lottie London. This is their arch rival, and it's one of those kind of like 3-prong pens. You know, you get like the 3 little sides. Which is really good, I think, if you're in a rush and you want to do those kind of like little marks. Quite good for doing that. I'd say if you have fuller brows, this is going to be quite an easy one for you. And then new from Maybelline, they have brought out the Tatoo Studio, so like brow pomades, if you like. And these come in, I think there's like 6 or 7 shades, which I love. So I feel like the drugstore is really starting to become a bit more flexible now and give us more shades that we need. So yeah, just literally like a sort of brow pomade. Really, really liking that. And it does come with like a brush and a spoolie in the pack. But the one that I have been loving, guys, like really, oh my God, look how good this Lottie one is. It literally doesn't come off. So the one though that I have really, really been loving is this. This is the Urban Decay Brow Blade, and this is the waterproof pencil, and then you have an ink stain. So one end you have a crayon, like you can see there. And then the other end you have a pen. Now the pen on this has become like a real firm favourite. I feel like it's such a good, like super, super, super thin nib. Yes, I've just been using this just to add in very subtle like extra strokes, and I find once you've got your brow like set in position, it's much easier to go in and use something like this. Little brush strokes, and you kind of want to go very, very softly, and again keep something like a soft brush that you can just feather in anything that needs a little extra blend. But this is definitely one of the smallest brow pen nibs I've found, and that's what I really like about this. So this is the new palette from Nars. This is the Skin Deep Eye palette, and this is one of the newest launches from Nars that I've been very excited to try. This is what I was wearing in the Instagram that you guys were all DMing me about. I love the fact that you have like the bigger pans now. So for the kind of your transition colours, the colours you're going to use most often, they've got some really good universally flattering shades in here. So I'm going to start first with a wash of this kind of like cream nude all over my eye, and I'm just going to take a Bobbi Brown eye blender brush just to give like a soft wash of that over my eye. Then I'm going to take, this is an old Laura Mercier brush, I don't even know if they still make this. I'm going to take a bit of this shade, so I'm going to take a little bit of that one, and what I did to create this eye was I started in the socket and just used it to kind of like carve out some shape and add a bit of warmth. And literally just in a semicircle, I'm just like washing that in and blending it really softly. Then I'm going in with this shade, the one that's slightly warmer, and repeating that process, but concentrating it more into the deeper part of the socket. So just adding a little bit more warmth, because this one's got a slightly warmer tone, a bit more chocolatey, and just deepening it slightly. At this point, you don't need to worry about anything being perfect. It's more just getting in some depth. I think I'm going to use this one. This is the Chanel eyeshadow brush, and using a mix of those 2 shades, like that one and the one next to it, I'm also going to take that under my eye to start to build like a well of colour under my eye. And what you can start to do is connect the bottom shadow up towards that top shading. Again, don't worry if it's really messy, you can always take your bigger brush and just blend it all together. But the whole point is we're going to do concealer and do my classic concealer trick of making everything look perfect afterwards. So this is just like the base work, the framework of your eyes. Now on the eye look, I went for this really deep bronzy shade, and this is almost like a proper neutral. I'd say it's not too warm, not too cool. So the great thing about this palette is you can make your eye look more cooler, more warm, depending on what you want to do and what kind of look you're trying to create. And I'm going to apply that over the lid. And what I will say as well, guys, these shadows blend and layer so nicely over each other, over other eyeshadows as well. I'm just taking that pigment up to the blending work we did in the socket. So just kind of perfecting. So it's just the full lid is covered with this darker shade. And then now you want to go back to your original kind of crease blending brush and just start to smush those into each other. Then I want to add a bit of the gold shade. So this one is really beautiful, this kind of like antique gold colour. I'm going to use a little bit of that in the centre of the eye. So I'm just going to take a, which one's this? A Sigma medium sweeper brush. And what I did, just to start to give the look dimension, was take this into the centre of the eye and then just layer it through a little bit. So I just started to kind of sweep it and into that top shade as well, so there's not too much separation now of the colours start to blend together. Then I want to take a smaller brush and I want to take a bit of that darker shadow under the lashes as well, so that my bottom lash line is smoked out slightly. So I'm going back to the Nars palette and I'm taking a mix of the matte browns and that kind of shimmery brown that I used first all over the lid, and then just taking this underneath. And of course go back to your blending brush and just blend away. So I'm going to use this pen by Maybelline. This is the Master Precise All Day Liquid Liner, and this is in a really nice dark brown shade. You guys know I love me some browns. And what I'm going to do now is just trace a line along my lash line. And I find this pen it's so nice when you can get really nice like black brown liquid liners. I wish more brands did like really good dark brown. But this is literally just to get the base line, the roots really, really dark. And then I have another new launch from Maybelline, which is coming out, I think, or might even be out by the time this video goes live. This is the Tatoo. This is the Tatoo Studio Gel Pencil Liner, and this is also in like a really nice dark brown. So it's called Bold Brown, and I just think you can't beat these from the drugstore. Such a nice crayon and super, super pigmented. So I'm using this to go into the inner waterline, on the bottom waterline and into the top, and then I'm just going to smudge those with the brush I used to apply the shadow onto the bottom. And then you want to take your pencil. We're now going to run the line over the liquid liner we did. So because that's got, I love the colour, I have to say, guys, of this Maybelline one. So then we're going to make it smudgier and more smoky by taking this brown pencil and just running it over the top of the gel liner. And then we're going to take something like a smudger brush. This is the Charlotte Tilbury one, and quite literally just smudge that line out so that your eye is going to look instantly, you see how it just looks more smoky but still intense. Now what I did do when I wore this look in my Instagram post was I did do kind of like a faux wing with the powder. So I used, which brush did I use? I think I took this is like a Gucci angled brush. I used this and I went in with this shade, the darkest one, this like really dark matte. Again, everything in this look is kind of like chocolatey, but like a black brown, which I really like, and that's what I think makes it very flattering and kind of suit all. So I'm just dipping a bit of that, and then again, this is almost like setting all the work we're doing as well. And so then I just started to wing out the look ever so slightly. And then just using the corner of my nail and just like flicking that out slightly so it goes a little bit softer. So before I go any further, I'm going to go back to my foundation brush and just make sure everything is clean under the eyes. And then I'm going to go with concealer. Now, one product you guys have been asking me about for ages now, and I've been meaning to try and I finally got my hands on, is the Charlotte Tilbury concealer. This is the Magic Away liquid concealer. This is the first time for me trying it, so I'm going to be like first impressions right now on camera. Ooh, I like the concealer though. That is a nice... So I'm using shade 4, guys, and I'm just going to use a little bit of this around the centre, perhaps even a little bit on my chin. And then I'm still going to use my Real Techniques setting brush just because I prefer to kind of blend my concealer in with a brush. So I'm taking it around the centre. That's a very, very nice concealer, guys. I really like the consistency. It doesn't feel too heavy. Wow, so that was just literally like a tiny dab of concealer on each eye. So I'm going to go back in with like a dot more just to see how it layers. But that is beautiful, guys, that concealer. I totally get what all the fuss is about now. From here on, we want to go back to the palette now, and I want to take, so now I want to take a bit of the kind of like shimmery, it's like this one and this one, and we're going to do that just on the inner highlight of the eye, just to give a bit of a sparkle. So I'm just taking that one, and I'm just going in, just to give a little bit of brightness. Really, really love these eyeshadows, guys, so pretty. So normally at this point I would add my Pomade Mascara Essence Base, but I wanted to try a new mascara today, and this is also a Maybelline one. So this is the Snap Mascara, which Lindsay Kelp told me she really loves, so I wanted to try this. This is the brush, so you guys can see. It's kind of like almost slightly bent, but I'm excited to see if we can get really intense lashes with this. Oh, it's nice. I like the way it goes into the inner corner really easily, actually. That's great. I'm also going to take a little bit of that under the lashes now that I have put the eyeshadow on underneath. Let's use some powder. I have a new one here from Lancome. This is their Long Time No Shine, and I have got the shade Translucent. So I'm going to use a little bit of this just to set under my eyes. So I'm taking a powder brush from Chanel and a little bit of loose powder, and I like to kind of tap a bit of the excess off my hand first before I go in with the powder. Now obviously, because of this Hourglass foundation being matte, I don't think you'd really need much powder. I'm just using this more to kind of set concealer under my eyes, and then just so I can re-blend out my eyeshadow underneath into the powder. And just going to go over under my eye so it kind of slightly re-smudges it out again. So bronzer was what I used to create kind of more that warm glow now to balance up the eyes, and I don't have a new one as such, but I've really got back into my Chanel one recently. This is the Le Beige Medium, so it has the kind of like ridges across it, and I love this colour. This is in medium. So I like to start my bronzer with quite a big brush first. This is just a Chanel powder brush, and then I kind of take it over quite a big expanse first. Like roll it over my nose. It smells so nice, this one, guys. Then once I've got like a nice amount of bronzer all over, I will actually go back in sometimes with a warmer one. So I've got this one. This is another Maybelline one. This isn't sponsored, guys. I just went to a Maybelline event last night, so I have quite a few new bits to try, which I'm really enjoying, trying out some new drugstore stuff. So this one is a slightly deeper colour. This is 300 City Bronzer by Maybelline. And if I go in with a darker tone, I then take another smaller brush. So this is a smaller bronzer brush from Chanel, and then I can go in and, like, you see, it just like adds a bit more depth, and then I can just go in with the bigger one again and just kind of like blend it through so that the bronze sort of doesn't get like two circles anywhere on my skin. It starts to warm me up in a very natural way. And I will take what's left on that brush as well and do a little bit kind of over my nose, because that is where I naturally catch the sun. I did actually use another Hourglass product, not new, but this is what I was wearing in the Instagram post, and this is the Ambient Lighting Blush in Incandescent Electra, which is this one. So it's like the coral with the highlights, so it's going to give me that kind of natural glowy highlighted skin, but still keeping like the foundation looking very satin. So I just took this, which just complements the whole look really nicely. So you see, it brings a sheen to the skin, but it doesn't kind of take away from the bronze vibe. For lips, I have this gorgeous palette from Rouje. This is their, which way around is it? There we go. And this is the quad of the 4 shades. Now, I would describe these as more of like a sort of satin cream. They're not full matte shades, but I want to take a bit of this and this just as like an undertone. So just patting that on gives my lips a nice little kind of understain so they don't look too flat. But the exact colour I had on in my Instagram was this lipstick by Lancome. How gorgeous is the packaging? It's like a matte black with a shiny black lid. And it is one of their kind of pop lipsticks you pop down. And this is Drama Matte in the shade 510. And this is like proper nude. I'm going to pat this on. And I kind of like it when you smush it a little bit over the lip line, so you don't need a lip pencil. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything, guys. I hope you guys like the look. I would love for you guys to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well at HarryMakesItUp, because I am doing a lot more lives, and I've actually started doing mini kind of Insta story makeup looks and then saving them in my highlights. So my everyday one is over there. And yeah, there's just a mix of things happening over there as well. So I hope you guys are really well. I hope you're liking this setup. I hope you like the makeup look, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.